Greetings and welcome to GatherVerse Men's Health Summit 2025. We're coming off the heels of a very successful series of health summits this year thus far, with the extraordinary Women's Health Summit that we were able to hold in spring. At GatherVerse, we meet at this intersection of emerging technologies and humanity, and health at the intersection of technology is one of our most important focuses. We've had extraordinary people from around the world that we sojourn and journey with. And when we talk about the subject of health, it's perhaps one of the most unexplored areas and phases of life and nature that we know of or don't know of. With GatherVerse, we have a focus for humanity first standards of education and accessibility and community development and safety, privacy, wellness, ethics, trust, and more. This is our 35th global gathering that we've been afforded to have. We're coming off the heels of a major extraordinary series of GatherVerse Tech for Humanity. Transmetropolitan, transcontinental, we were able to assemble people from around the world to explore what does the current and future state of technology look like when it comes to machines, hardware, software, but moreover, the impact that it will have on humanity. We welcome everyone that's come to assemble with us at GatherVerse.live and the various social streams that we're broadcasting and would be broadcasting during these segments. When we think about health, not just men's health, but women's health, but we think about health, what is the impact mentally of artificial intelligence now that we're coming to a better understanding of what it is that we're engaging with? What are the benefits of technology such as spatial computing and spatial intelligence in new environments and unexplored phenomena that we've never been in? From the physical layer to the virtual layer, the material layer that we call it, to this extension of reality itself, what does that mean when it comes to the human psyche? What does that mean for human factors? What does that mean when we start talking about the perceptual sciences of it all and cognitive filtering and understanding how these technologies will and have already impacted our lives? We're on such a major precipice of innovation at such a hyperscale that it was once posed that what happens when the technology becomes more advanced than the technologist? At GatherVerse, the fundamental need for human preservation of expression is needed now more than ever. To be able to share with one another and to be able to have a better understanding from various lens perspectives on what technology that these individuals, you, who have come to join with us from around the world, what is your impact when it comes to technology, and how has it affected your health? Negatively, affirmatively, positively, with gain, or perhaps even decline? At GatherVerse, we had a rather curiosity. What does this mean when we start talking about the life state of health? Typically, there's 29 different medical departments that make up a hospital in one organization. And you're dealing with the human body itself, and we have doctors that are practicing and practition. Now, I hope that we know and hope that we've been brought to the appreciation that these technologies that we innovate can ultimately never replace humans. The relationship between the doctor, the practitioner, if you will, whether it's study of Eastern and Western medicine, can never truly replace that which what a human can actually do. As artificial intelligence, as capable as it is, and capable as it's becoming, even at a PhD level mind, if you will, or neural network of artificial intelligentsia, it will never be able to supersede that which we've had since the beginning, that we've known of, if you will, the human code. And it's of that code, that DNA that's been passed down through the ages and generations itself, the persistent preservation of these bodies, if you will, and the unexplored phenomena and the unexplored scientific discovery of not just what we see on a macrocosm of the universe, but in the microcosm of these bodies. Today, we talk about men's health, but I suspect, as we did at the Women's Health Summit, that we'll also be exploring the women's health spectrum. There's never been more of an important time to have these discussions. Because now that technology is finding even more of a deeper chasm within the fundamental beddings of medical discovery, medical development. What we innovate today may meet us in the surgical theater tomorrow, may meet us on the training grounds in the health arena, unlike anything we've ever known. And I always advocate that we, as humans, if you will, stay ahead of technology rather behind it. And this is why we assemble, for this reason and more, to have a deeper sense of a better understanding that's peer expressed as something that machines can never give us, real-time intelligence with a heartbeat. We'll take a moment to pay our bills with our good friends at Pico, who are our gracious sponsors of today's summit. We have 2 days to gather and a little bit of time to do this, and we have an extraordinary roundtable discussion that we're about to launch with several voices ahead of it and behind it. May our gather be well.
Hello and greetings. Welcome to the first Roundtable Panel, GatherVerse Men's Health Summit 2025. And by the way, happy Men's Day to every man out here, anyone who is watching. Happy Men's Day to you. And so, with me, we're going to talk about the current and future state of men's health in the modern era of emerging technologies. We have assembled a group of leaders who are going to help us demystify this topic. And we encourage you as our audience, please feel free to engage. And with that said, I will be your moderator for today, Linkita, the communications director for GatherVerse. And I want to really bring my panelists on stage. I want them to tell us who they are briefly and what they do, and then we can kick off. I will begin with you, Milo. I will begin there and we will go right over there and then we will conclude the introductions with you, Caitlin. Milo, please take it off.
Thank you so much. Can you hear my audio okay?
Yes, perfect.
Awesome. Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here with you this morning, day, afternoon, evening, depending on when you're joining us. My name is Mai Liu, and I am an organizational psychologist. Former career was a CPA. And so as I'm speaking to you today, I'm really excited to share the context of men's health. I identify as a woman, but the context I'm sharing is in the context of the workspace. So how do we show up at work because of the intersection of your health, specifically your mental health, your well-being, and how that intersects in work environments, which is the domain of knowledge that I come into as an organizational psychologist.
Yes.
I've been an executive in HR for many years, have coached hundreds of people over my career, and I currently serve today as our Chief Impact Officer of my own company,
Yes.
LifeSpark Labs. Thank you so
Wow.
much. I'm excited to talk today.
We are also excited to hear from you. That's quite a wealth of experience. We're ready to learn. Nate, over to you. Please tell us who you are briefly. Your mic, please unmute. We can't hear you. All
Can you hear me
right.
now?
Yes.
All right. My name is Nathan Watata. I am currently a CrossFit trainer, a gym owner, powerlifting trainer as well, and I am a strength and conditioning coach for a high school football team. I not only see dozens of clients, I also coach and train classes, and really, just really my focus is on functional fitness, not necessarily about you know, uh, um, growing big or trying to lift a lot of weights or following the image, so to speak. I just finished a session with a group in Oakland, California, is where I reside at, 100 Black Men, 100 Black Women organization, really with the focus of being out in the community and showing them the proper way of, improving their lifestyle and, creating new habits and not feeling that anyone is left behind, so to speak, especially with my involvement with I like dealing with the youth, especially that age where it can be very tricky to
Yeah.
navigate the teens and older adults as well. So and then also I competed in the qualify for the CrossFit Games, so I also know what it's like to say you're going to do a thing, but then also have your mind go to a whole different level you can't fathom
Yes.
even existed of
Mhm.
of
Definitely.
strain at the
Yeah.
highest level, that adapting to those who are also don't know that they don't know and building from that.
Yes.
That's where I'm at.
Absolutely. We're very happy to have you here, and we can't wait to hear from you. And Wish, nice to see you again. Please tell us who you are briefly.
Sure. I'm a tech CEO. I work with AI and emerging technologies to help create a better world. I'm also a mixed martial arts instructor, and I work with kids to teach them self-defense and critical awareness.
We're happy to have you once again. Jasper, over to you, and it's also happy to see you once again.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Jasper. I'm co-founder of Train for Good, where we're not only supporting you to be healthier, but while you're taking care of your health, you're also supporting struggling communities. So we try to make a for-profit charity focused around fitness and health. And what we're mainly focusing on is basically taking where you are and basically help you build that habit where you can train and take care of your health at any
Mhm.
time, anywhere, to make it simple and easy and simply throw your excuses in the trash can.
Yes, fantastic. We're very happy to have you here with us. And over to you, Caitlin. Nice to see you again.
Nice to be here, and wow, I'm completing this circle of our roundtable. I founded MindWise 10 years ago. It's a consultancy focused on innovation and imagination with technology. That was after a background teaching for over a decade, full-time in middle school and high school. And I moved all over the world. I had parents in the Foreign Service, so I was teaching in the US and Belgium and Switzerland. And at the same time, I coached basketball and cross country. So talking about motivation and human dynamics. And now I'm also teaching at places like Stanford and the University of Oregon as I teach digital well-being. ways to prioritize well-being as a layer stack of our physical first, and then layer on with technology as we see fit, continuing to go back to the somatics and the body sense and the mindset practices that let us connect our attention with our intention. So it's really good to be here.
It's nice to have you. We love educators and we respect everything that they do for the community, and we respect you all. Thank you for joining us. So can we kick off? Is it time? All right, let's get started. When you think about emerging technologies, and as Christopher did an incredible introduction, and he asked, what does it mean to have men's health in this era of emerging technologies? And we're just going to dive deeper into that. I'm thinking about how are emerging technologies changing the way men see and take care of their well-being? I'm going to begin with a gentleman, and over to you, Wish. Tell us, how are emerging technologies changing the way men see and take care of their well-being?
I think the first one probably is it's bringing more awareness to our health issues, the specific data points like how well our sleep is, how well our diet is, and without that we really can't do a whole lot. It's just a guesswork without that kind of stuff. So I think technology is bringing more of that forefront into our minds, and once we have that, then we can control it a lot better. I can go on and on if you want.
Yes, please. You can just start something as they come to you, Jasper, as well, and then over to you, Nate.
Yes, yes. I think as Wish said, it brings more awareness, because usually if we are not sick, we just walk around and are like, I'm fine. There cannot be anything wrong. But as soon as maybe we can track how our health is throughout the days, weeks, and months, then it definitely makes a difference. I would say probably one thing that can be sometimes it can be maybe a little bit demotivating, because sometimes the technology not is 100% accurate. But there you just have to bear in mind that it's not so much what the number shows; it's just more the trajectory of the number. But actually, what I find interesting is that usually when we have these tracking, is that we usually put it into like these boxes that, okay, you may be below average, or you average and above average. And I actually find myself, I quite often ask people who both provide these technologies and surveys that you can do, ask them, what is actually the average person in your survey? So if I land in average, what is that compared up against? Because if it's compared up against people with already bad health, then it's not good for me to be average anymore, because then my health is not good. Then I must be above average to just have a normal, actually proper health in some way. So it looks like you are just to make it to be healthy, you have to be some super athlete, more or less. It looks like.
Definitely. Keating, I'll be coming to you, but I want to hear from you, Nate, briefly. What do you have to add to that as a man?
Sorry. Let me know if there's any background noise so I can move around someplace else. Anyway, to answer your question, one of the things that I make it a point to have my clients do is to I connect them with the applications, making them more aware of, for example, I'll just say like SugarWOD and Beyond the Whiteboard, just applications, and holding the accountability with them, not only in our sessions, but then also making sure that they're logged in and making sure that they're putting the specific numbers for whatever our goals are or what we're trying to accomplish for the time being. So I think also just the simple things, getting used to applications and how that works, then also being aware of, you have things such as cold plunges. You have in gyms nowadays, you can walk in and can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, we can hear
you. You have so many people who, for example, when I take the kids to showing them the purpose of recovery and rehabilitation. All right, because bodies get beaten up in football, so we go to a gym and they're completely unaware of things like the cold plunge, and how to use the sauna and knowing the settings, but they have someone there who can show them, hey, you can put these things in your application. You can put the feedback in. It can come back to you, and this is what you're looking at, as opposed to guesstimating what these particular things that I do and what the responses will be. You have actually something definitive and more accurate to give you feedback on that. So I guess what I'm saying in essence is, the applications out there, making them more aware of how to use applications and interacting with those things to make it not seem as if they're in the wilderness or the woods, and holding their hand, so to speak, in that accountability with those type of things.
And definitely, I believe applications is just bringing a new level of taking care of ourselves. And Caitlin, the way I see you nodding, I feel like you have something to say. Do you want to say something to that?
I do. Yes, and I'm thinking about the word emerging with emerging tech, and this idea of agency, accountability, just like Nate was saying, and then a layer of discovery where I feel like right now self-discipline can become self-discovery with emerging tech. And one of my favorite passions is to study the emotions of wonder and awe, and what puts us in a state of, being immersed so much that we lose that attachment to one single story. We can drop into possibility, we can grow, to use more of a psychology word, we can let go of limiting beliefs. And I find more people now with emerging tech asking, not only what do I want to achieve, but who do I want to be? And how can I actualize that? And so I really love this idea of spatial computing and a lot of different emerging tech giving people better access to states of freedom and feeling their body in different ways, and also connecting back again to that internal sense of mattering, because we have rising suicide rates, we have rising problems with mental health, and I keep looking at how can tech be that bridge to better connection.
Definitely. That's a very, very interesting perspective. And coming to spatial computing, I'm going to touch on that, but let's just shift gears for a while. And I'm coming to you, Milo. What I meant really searching for when they turn to technology for wellness, and how can their needs be met? And anyone can chime in as that, but Milo, go on.
Yeah, definitely. Also, Lou is my last name, so you can just call me Mai, Lynn.
Okay.
So what I think is really exciting about what Caitlin shared earlier is, and to answer this question, is what we're looking for when we turn to technologies is almost providing data and having it be informed decision making. And so what I mean by that is when we're looking to technology, we get to suspend what's practical. So you can think about it from the context of like, can I explore myself in, for example, like careers that I never thought I could before? Can I imagine myself in a gaming world that I, can suspend gravity, can suspend like my current environment to feel things in a different way? And this is actually helpful from the context of psychology, because we as humans are poor at the perspective of prospection. So like when we try to predict what's going to happen to us in the future, we're not the best at that as humans. And so we often will think emotions are going to be more intense than they actually will be, or they're going to be longer in duration than they actually will be. And so these are technologies are a way for people to be able to understand, if I go down this path, what might happen? And let's play that out. Let's try that out. And using, data and, being able to use all of the amazing generative technologies that are out there to kind of predict and show an example of what this could look like. So we get to try on different roles, experiences, decisions that we never could have before without, the advances in technology. And I think what we're seeing men look for in these technologies is being able to get actionable answers, not just like vague advice or like being squishy, fluffy, but like, okay, if I know this about myself now, I've tried on this experience. I've seen this data. I've seen this wearable tell me this thing. What am I supposed to do about it?
Yeah.
And really, how do I change my lifestyle and build that into habit? And so doing that in a way that feels safe, where they can be vulnerable and they can have a private conversation, is really kind of like the first starting point of a safe place to explore, learn about myself, and then turn that into action.
Oh, definitely. That was a very, very in-depth look at it. And, I also want to shift gears a little bit when it comes to even prediction, right? Predicting our health. I think AI can really do a good job with that. But let's just bridge another gap and go to another sector that is across cultures and generations. What do men most often overlook about health in this digital world? Jesper, I'm coming to you, and Nate. Right. What do men overlook? What do you personally overlook?
The simplicity of it, I think, that's oftentimes overlooked. That you don't have to treat it or go about health alone and treat it as if you're still in the Stone Age with that. And I can say that from personal experience. Believe it or not, even though I'm a trainer, I have a trainer as well. I have to be accountable. I'm accountable to someone as far as the things that I log in and things. It's weird. It's kind of like a mechanic having faith, not working on their car and just having faith or trust in that mechanic to work on their car, right? It's of one mind, that type of thing. So anything I say or do is relatable because of the personal experiences that I've had. So I think the only one word I could think about is just this negation of the simplicity of it and just giving it a try and knowing that this is where things are going and when things can be, as Lou had mentioned, logged in, and you have the data and you see from that first experience, hey, this really does work. More than likely, that tends to them, being very satisfied and content with that experience and telling others as well. And it's not really about per se the sale or finally committing to it. It's just really how do you feel, and that energy expands to others, saying, oh, well, if that was your experience, let me experience it, let me try that as well. So the simplicity of it.
The simplicity of it. Jesper, and we should tell us what do men often overlook all over the cultures in the world, and briefly tell us, standing.
Yeah, I mean, actually, to also double down on what Nate is saying about the simplicity, let me tell a story about a guy called Michael that I met one time. And he asked me how he could start training because he had tried to go to the gym a few times, but then he stopped because then he didn't have time due to work and so on. And then I just simply asked him, do you know what is a push-up? And then he looked strange at me like, what do you mean? Yeah, I say, yeah, I mean, you have plenty of time to do 5 push-ups, right? I mean, you just wake up, it takes 5 seconds. You have 5 seconds to do it. It doesn't get in way for work or anything. And he is still super confused about, okay, what are you talking about? Where are you getting at? But what actually happened is that in that moment, I got him to do just 10 push-ups on the ground. But then in the following months, every day, he started just implementing, just doing 5 push-ups the moment he woke up. Then all of a sudden, next week, then he started doing 10, because why could he not do 10? Then he went to 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and then all of a sudden he did 50 push-ups. And this pattern just started happening. Then you just do more, you add more to it. So I see so many times that especially men is like, oh, then I had to go to the gym. It takes me an hour. I have to be there for an hour. Then I have to go home, shower, and then I spend 4 hours before anything is even happening. And I need also the perfect meal plan. I need the perfect routine.
Yes.
And you never get started. And it's just make it so simple. Not even try to get anything on point. Just start doing 5 push-ups, doing 5 squats, doesn't matter. I mean, just start doing something, because then over time you get the motivation, you get the wins, and then you start adding more. Or then I can also do some sit-ups. Then I can also add some squats, and all of a sudden now you'll build your own workout program without really anything. And you can go to YouTube and find the programs, and even with ChatGPT, you can make it even a quick, simple program, and to get started when you get to that point where, okay, now you need more structure. So,
Yes, and yeah, thank you for simplifying it even better and adding to what just Nate said, the simplicity of it, and that is such an inspiring story to learn from. Wish, what is your take on this?
I'd say just to cap on there is like, the best way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. So the smaller bites, the better. But I would add too that mental health is a big piece that's overlooked oftentimes. It's a lot of times when we look at fitness, it's just the muscle and the structure and the technique and stuff like that. But it's like what's the part that's really supporting all of that? Balance is, I think, a really big part of overall health. And if we're just focused on one thing in particular, then we're going to get out of balance. Like we could be stacked, but messed up upstairs, and it's not going to last for very long, and vice versa.
Wow.
You could be completely in your head and not taking care of your body, and your mind's going to wither. It's if you're not working on both, then it's not going to
Yes,
help.
certainly. Bringing the aspect of the upstairs, the mental side of it. You might be fit, but are you okay mentally? So it's a whole approach to the whole body, from what we eat, from our minds, from how we keep fit. And thank you for sharing that aspect. Caitlin, I'm coming to you on technology as well. Can technology genuinely assist men in discussing their health, or does it drive them to be more distant? Share your thoughts on that.
Goodness. Wow. Well, first off, I'm just really grateful for the chance to gather and talk about this. I find myself just in the moment listening to everybody and thinking, oh, I didn't do my 5 push-ups yet. So I guess on that note, tech could make us, and I've been studying whether or not we have any sort of addiction to the measures. And, it can create a compulsion. Like I know some people who say, oh, it didn't count if my wearables didn't track it. Does anyone, have that, where you see that happening? But if people feel like they have the sense of agency and they understand the data, then it becomes more about dignity, about how the whole self is integrated and how you can use this data and what the tech provides for a better understanding and better connection with your goals. And I just wanted to bring up that a lot of times what I think is the missing link is people sometimes not realizing that they're in a system. Like the more the tech can connect us with a community, then people start to realize, oh, I'm not in isolation. I think in terms of men's health, I was looking at stats, and men are less likely than women to seek mental health support. That's from the APA. So back to, what Wish was saying about mental health, men might isolate more. 60% of adult men report feeling lonely often or all of the time, and that's from the Surgeon General. And 64% of men say tech and wearables help them feel more in control of their health. So, the data is speaking right now. That's from a survey by Deloitte in 2024. So I think to answer you, Lynn, I'm a hopeful person. I think there's all kinds of hope and agency. This also involves what Jaron Lanier has identified as data dignity. Right now we need to also set the bar high for how people are both accessing what tech provides and understanding the ethics underneath it. So this is a great place to kind of plant that seed and then ask for better measures of, how this whole system is supporting people. And when they feel like they're struggling, that knowledge that resilience means you can reach out to other people, and it's not a weakness to see yourself as part of a community system of help.
Yes, I share the same idea with you. I'm very optimistic. And I'm looking forward to a place whereby men will be really, really open to how they feel mentally or their body in every aspect. I really, really am optimistic about that. And just an example, I'm going to give a very quick example. Here in Africa, the culture here is a lot of men are are opposed to seeking medical attention, even mental attention. So they stay with it, they stay with it, they stay with it until the bubble bursts. And then that's when you realize there was a problem here. So this is just a one interesting conversation. And, Milo, I'm coming to you as well. What do you think can genuinely assist men in discussing their health, or does technology drive them distant?
I think conversations like this is a first start. It's like destigmatizing the concept of mental health. Like mental health is health, and all of that is connected together. And sometimes mental health can be insidious in that it doesn't have, like Lynn, to your story, for example, like it doesn't have a visible physical manifestation until it's a high acuity situation, when it's something has happened that physically causes someone to not be in a good place. And so mental health is part of health. And I think that technology has the opportunity to really assist men in being able to discuss their health, and also be able to explore in a way that it's feeling safe, and that, like I mentioned before, is like data driven. I think that the places that I'm most excited about is being able to explore like practice zones. So like if I want to have this conversation with this person, and part of our mental health is how do we engage with the environments around us, including other humans? How do we have people in that support system to help me when I'm in a place of like I need help taking care of myself, or I need to ask for help? That's also part of the conversations. And if we have practice grounds on how to have some of those conversations, or even have difficult conversations, those are all things that I'm really excited about for us to be able to, practice being better humans to each other. And, when we show up to each other, we can be like the best versions of ourselves. And then also it gives us the practice to also feel comfortable building those habits to ask for help and show up even when we're not feeling like our best. So I think those are some of the things that I'm really excited about.
Thank you for sharing that. And I just want to drag that bird to the next question, and then bringing it to you, Wish. We've talked about apps, we've talked about technology, we've talked about even the spatial computing and its like. But here's the thing. Can digital health information, the information we get from the tech, or the data that we store there, cease to be beneficial and begin to define one's identity? I'm going to give a very simple scenario. You look at your data, and you don't want to go for analysis in the hospital. You just look at the app. This is what the app says. When I feel like this and this and that, it could be this and this and that. So you find people finding their health identity on the app instead of official or seeking medical counsel. So do you think this can happen, and how do we tackle that when it comes to that? And Wish, Caitlin, I also want to bring you on this, Nate as well, but Wish, I want to hear from you.
Yeah, I think the information can blind you to a certain point. Kind of getting back to like what Jasper was talking about with what's the sample size you're pulling from? Are those metrics that you're looking at, are they accurate to you? Like, for example, if average is below where I'm at and I'm actually trying to go up, like, am I getting a good response from that data set? Also, I think, depending on how you're using it, it could also become a problem. Like if it becomes too competitive, like I know, like with Apple, a lot of people have the circles thing and everybody competes to try to complete their circles. And I think that sometimes I've seen it where people neglect other areas of their life because they're just so focused on completing their circles. Just because their friend circle is so jacked up into this, it's almost become kind of culty. I'm not saying it's like it with everybody, but that can definitely become a problem when we're too focused on the data itself and not looking at a more holistic approach to getting advice from an actual doctor, somebody that really knows what to do. Because you could be doing something that is just completely boosting your fitness in one area, like say I'm just focused on strength building and that's it, but I'm building my muscle to the point to where I'm actually damaging my body because I'm not paying attention to other pieces that are really important.
That is very important. Yes, paying attention to other aspects. And Gispa, please share in your thoughts, and Caitlin, with what you found out about this, Gispa.
Yeah, I think. I mean, it's always a pros and cons about everything. I think definitely also to what Wish says, that I think probably if you're the one who tends to be at the bottom of these leaderboards where you compete against each other, then either you get super competitive and just try to win, or you maybe lose completely motivation and you stop, and then you're not doing anything at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it becomes a little bit it can becomes a little bit contradicting for what you're actually trying to do. But I think something like, for example, Whoop, where they also actually have your these rest and sleep score they add in. So it's not only the fitness aspect where you actually are physically active, but you also have the part where you are resting and you are building up that counts into your score. I think they have some sleep metrics that who gives the most amount of sleep or something like that. So, I mean, that's a good thing where you kind of balance things out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also what I see, that typically these metrics
Yes.
each app have. For example, I have a scale that says it can measure body weight and fat percentage and so on. And one thing I noticed is that when I actually need to add more apps into it,
Mm-hmm.
integrated with more apps to give it more data to create a better picture of how my weight composition actually is.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think it's also just been more, I'm gonna say, educated about what is actually the technology showing you, and what is actually probably more what is not showing you, because that's probably more where it is.
Yes, it's a very interesting view when you talk about balancing what you see with the metrics and what you see in your body, and what you should do with the help when it comes to seeking medical attention, going for regular checkups, right? Caitlin, you've talked about technology a lot, but just take us a little bit deeper on this subject.
Well, and just to also get playful, I look down and sometimes I'll bring this up with groups, like this idea, and they'll say, "Oh, that's Pac-Man." I'm like, yeah, we are conditioned sometimes to feel like we're seeking and we're not enough. And I think sometimes just showing that either the algorithms or the way that we're interacting with a system can sometimes play into this mindset, like we are never achieving enough, like the bar is always higher. And yet what I love about some of the wearables and HRV measures is we learn with that word balance when it means to, and this is physical, this is emotional, this is spiritual. What does it mean to have a sense of meaning and purpose? So I wrote a book last year that just came out. It's called Digital Wellbeing. And in the book, originally the cover was supposed to be a robot arm and a human hand. And I thought, well, that's a little derivative, because right now I think it's more about what does it mean to thrive as a whole human. And if you're always playing the game of I'm not enough, then a person's not actually feeling, and this is where the layers of tech could help us understand ourselves more, and also say, yeah, I have a worth, and it's not about chasing the next thing and the next thing, because then people will feel like they're never done. So I think this conversation, and of course we're never totally complete, but there is something there that's a deeper conversation, about people not only feeling like they matter, but feeling like they're enough and they're not owned by the wearable.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I totally concur with that. Having let me just follow up. The feeling of not being enough, is it a feeling? Does it come from inner internal issues that you can deal with by talking to people? How do you deal with that feeling of not feeling not enough?
I mean, for me, I use a lot of reflection practices and journaling because there's no emotion. This is another prop. Sometimes having vocabulary of feelings, connecting to this idea because you can take that in so many directions, Lynn, that I tell someone, wow, if you're having these are all conversations where reflection, yeah, of course, reaching out, but not feeling enough could mean that you're curious about something. To go back to Christopher's word that started GatherVerse, how can we, be more introspective, but also trust external communities, all of our collective wisdom at what it means right now in this day and age to be questioning meaning at a deeper level.
Right. Yeah, wonderful. Thank you for answering that.
Yeah.
Nate, I want to get your perspective on this particular subject.
Yeah,
Please
yeah,
tell us.
I'm just gonna stand or just bridge off on the back of what Wish, Jasper, and Caitlin said. Uh, let's just, I never thought that when I get into this line of work, I'd also be a part-time psychologist without having to go and actually have a degree in psychology. I'm thinking, okay, it's just about the physical, and let's go ahead and get a good heart, just feel well, or strengthen our heart rate, muscles, so forth and so on. I'm just going to use these two examples similar to what Jesper had said a little earlier. There was someone I was training, and she, based upon my observation and what they were doing, whenever we'd have to do, let's just say a 5 or 7 rep max, they would do the weight and they would go ahead and log it. And then the next week, of course, you do small percentage increases. When it got to about the third month or so, I could tell this is something that you could not a rope. I don't know. You couldn't see it if you were to go ahead and put it into your phone and any type of metrics that you put in. I was able to see that this person was ready to increase the weight or the reps, but they were holding themselves back. Like, I could see it; they were ready to go, but they were in their heads. That's fine, no problem. That's what I'm here for, right? And so they came this next day, and I said, "Hey, that weight that you're normally used to doing, we're going to do about 10 pounds more." But Nate, I said, "I've seen what you do. I know you're used to going ahead and having things done in a prioritized, set, systematic way of doing things. From what, once again, going back to my interaction with this person, what I see, what I observe, the energy that that person gives, and what the energy that I give to that person, that's where we come in. Instead of all the setbacks or all the apprehensions that they have, that's where we go ahead, make a long story short, push them to a point where they end up doing 4 extra reps than they thought they could have, right? Because I knew from our interactions their and their commitment to the program that they were ready to push themselves a little bit more than what they were used to doing, based upon what they would log in and the feedback that they were getting from them. So once again, it's just it's just something where we end up it doesn't become just a visceral or external type of situation. If we
Yes.
look at it like what we call, our bodies are we don't know that we don't know that we don't know. I'm 50 years old, and the things that they said that what will happen when you get to 50,
Mhm.
I'm not that, right? Because I didn't want to be set in those bounds of a mindset of this will happen, that will happen, so forth and so on. And I have a doctor, I'm accountable, I go online, all these things that I do, not so much for, once again, the outer aspect, but just how I feel and how I move and just where it takes your state of mind to being. And so when we experience those things, we can,
Mhm.
in our line of work, we can transfer those not feelings, but those experiences onto our clients or our loved ones,
Mhm.
whoever they might be. And it becomes a community, right? It's great that
Yes.
uh, um, you're using apps or data and these type of things and logging this and that. And then let me just say this before you move on to my Caitlin had mentioned how guys, I just recently had a reboot, summer reboot, and it was
Mhm.
for a group of men and group of women. They were supposed to meet together anyway. 100 black men, 100 black women, and
Yes.
it was together. It was a great thing. It was for an organization in Oakland. And do you know that this event where I had 3 classes, it went on for 3 months, 3 classes every day, 3 classes 3 times a week, and for all that duration of time, women showed up 5, anywhere between 7 to 10 women showed up every time for those classes. This is backing up and confirming Caitlin, her analytics. Do you know for 3 months, for 3 classes every week, how many men showed up?
Tell us.
A total of 2 men showed up for 3 months. Consistently, 5 to 7 women showed up every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, encouraging one another, pushing one another, just with the program and workouts. They just never, and then that guy that did show up, guess what? You could smell or reek of the alcohol. And before and after that, he said, I apologize. I didn't get on him or anything like that. I apologize for how I performed. And I know that you might have smelled alcohol on me. And I said, oh, it's okay. We can discuss it. We can talk about it. He said, I'll be back again. So, sure, no problem. I asked him how everything was going. He just never showed up. And then the person that was also the head of the organization, I reached out to him. He said, well, unfortunately, that's the issue that we have, not amongst African-American men, but men in general. So I've experienced that firsthand. Yeah.
Oh, right. And that is a very, very interesting angle to see it, and a very good example that just goes along to show the state of men's health, right? And having conversations like this is what really makes the change and the difference. Milo, I'm coming to you when it comes to privacy, right? How do we protect men's privacy without blocking health progress? Share your thoughts.
Yeah, I would say that the safe spaces and vulnerable spaces is key. From a digital technologies perspective, there's all these different guidelines that are out there, like HIPAA, and being able to protect personal identifiable information. There's all these kind of regulations and formal rules out there from a platform technologies perspective, but there's also kind of like the gray line of, oh, when you push updates and changes to your product, do you actually help your customers know that those are there? And do you actually help lean towards privacy first? Are you more about let me sell your personal data to other places because I can monetize off of that quickly? And so it's the people that are in the decision-making spaces of what we're building in the world and what we're putting out into our technologies and products, that are we being transparent about what we are tracking and what we are not tracking, and easily allowing users to opt in or opt out of those experiences, or is it embedded in a click over there, and it's really hard to opt out, which is actually a strategic design. And so I think one is from the technologies and who's building these things, we have to be making that as a focus and priority to protect privacy. The second, as users and consumers, we also have to have a level of activism of do we want to make that a priority of the types of products we use, and if not, don't use them. And that's something that we as consumers have that choice to do. I think personally with conversations, the relationships around when we have conversations with other men and they're sharing something and we're inviting people to be vulnerable, it's in the safe circle of trust, and making sure that we expressly say thank you so much for sharing that with me. And we build our own toolbox of how we show up for men and have the spaces that are safe for them so that they can come back when they're not in a good space. So all of us upskilling in our social emotional intelligence serves all of us.
Wonderful. And I want to just highlight the aspect of us as users having the spirit of activism. Do you want to use it or not? But here's the thing. Let's just follow up with the next question, and I'm coming to you, Caitlin and Jesper and Wish. What blind spot do men carry when it comes to trusting digital health tools? Caitlin.
Well, I think I would speak for everyone. I'm still thinking about what Mai just shared and thinking about the idea of a new literacy. What if we have a new literacy right now that's needed with this type of health? Because we've been coming from, I think, the most awkward time to be human, when we were hunching over phones and technology looked like a 2D screen. And now things are going to be spatial. You know, they already are, but I think more people are going to be accessing, let's say, wearable data ported into glasses or into some kind of spatial object. So, you know, what does it actually mean to be looking at the future with this type of what some people have called biometric psychography? Like,
Yes.
we might have our actions and our behaviors also being tracked. And so, you know, my whole saying is, you know, let's be critical but not cynical. Let's ask, you know, we brought up hope a lot on this panel. You know, what kind of world do we want to build? And then, Lynn, you had asked about blind spots, you know, and I think I've named one. You know, I follow Thich Nhat Hanh, a Buddhist monk, who says that the next Buddha is going to be a sangha, which means a community. Like, our community is going to be the next big thing. So I think, again, that overlooking that you're part of a motivational team where people are, you know, we kind of over-index for feeling like things are against us. And, you know, like a lot of us were saying, we predict maybe some of the safety mechanisms, but maybe not the positive outcomes. So, you know, and maybe also overlooking that emotion can be a tool for connection, not a weakness, but a strength.
Yeah, you know, Caitlin, I was listening to you and I couldn't help but think, what a way to conclude. Our time is up. I know we could have gone on and on. And thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for experience. Thank you for the experiences that you have shared. I absolutely enjoyed this panel, and we're looking forward to having for the next summits, perhaps. And our Gather was well for this panel. Over to you, GatherVerse team. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Hello.